Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Token City Show. Today we have with us Henri de Jong. He is the co-founder of Quantoz, a stablecoin provider from Holland. Hi, Henri. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Javier. Thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm looking forward to discussing with you the exciting world of stablecoins.
Thank you. So I remember very clearly when I started looking up companies that were MiCA-compliant. Maybe you can tell us a little more about that if you want. In the European space. I remember very clearly logging into your website and being very impressed by the amount of, let's say, milestones, accolades that you guys had. It seemed you have worked with, global companies. It seemed like, kind of like a safety situation in a space where, there's fintechs starting, and the fact that you guys had a track record was important to me as a first moment of contact. So maybe you would like to give us a brief history of Quantoz, what you've guys done, what you want to do, what you want to achieve.
Okay, so thank you for your kind words. Well, Quantoz is a very old company in the blockchain world. So the company was already founded in 2014, and as one of the co-founders, we were especially interested in the technology. So we thought, so this is an impressive technology, and let's see what we can do with it. Yeah, what problems can we solve with the blockchain technology? And after 1 or 2 years, we entered into the payments with blockchain, solving the IoT payments. So in 2016, 2017, we had the emerging IoT use cases where
IoT, sorry, Henri, to cut you off. IoT, you mean Internet of Things, right?
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me start again. So Quantoz is a very old company in the blockchain world. We were already founded in 2014, just out of curiosity what you can do with blockchain. And after 1 or 2 years, we more and more focused on blockchain technology enabled payments, especially in the at that time emerging machine-to-machine payments industry. It was a time that the Internet of Things came up, and these Internet of Things had their own wallets, made their own business, and should be able to make and receive payments. To make a long story short, at that time there was no digital euro on-chain. There were the cryptocurrencies, and we looked for about 2 years if there were partners that could us help with a bank license that would enable us to have the digital money on-chain. But unfortunately, there was no partner that really worked for both parties. So we decided to apply for an e-money license ourselves. And in 2023, we got this license from the Dutch central bank. And from that time on, we were, as Quantoz, allowed to issue money on-chain, as you could say, a cash equivalent. And now getting to your question about MiCA, since July 2024, the electronic money tokens, as they are called under the Markets in Crypto Assets regulation, are regulated. That means that only companies that have an e-money license, such as Quantoz, or financial institutions are allowed to issue these electronic money tokens on chain. And that makes a big difference because suddenly you have cash equivalents on chain. And that means that you have a payment instrument on the blockchain.
Yep. On that note, let me do a little Kit Kat, as they used to say, a brief interlude. You are going to help us in a two-pronged way. One is our exchange, where you're going to help our investors pay on chain for secondary trading or even primary issuance, also assets. But you're also going to provide service for our clients that are using our software as a service platform, where they issue their own tokenized assets. And this presents some challenges because on the one side, we are the client, the exchange. On the other side, we are not the client, and you don't know these companies, right? So for you, it's like, okay, I want to provide the service for you and your clients, but we don't know these clients, and we are a regulated entity. We cannot simply do this, like we are selling candy or something, right? So maybe you could tell us a little bit about how this works. You can tell, to the extent that you want, how this will work between Token City and Quantoz.
Okay. Well, first of all, the collaboration between Token City and Quantoz is what I would call a perfect match, because both parties need each other. If you want to trade tokenized assets on-chain, one side is tokenizing the assets. That's what you are doing. But at the other side, if you want to settle these tokenized assets on-chain, and you want to trade them on-chain, you need the other side, and that's the money. The money and the tokenized asset come together on-chain, and through an atomic swap, they can change owner. And without Token City, we would not be able to offer the service. We would have the token, but we would have the money, but there would not be a tokenized asset at the other side that can be traded. So that is, I think, very important.
Yeah.
And secondly, you are completely right. Token City and Quantoz, we both have the responsibility to do a good know your customer check on the traders or on the exchange, and also to see where the money comes from. So the anti-money laundering and terrorist financing, counterfeit. These are our responsibilities that we as obliged entities do have. And we have our procedures in place to do a very efficient boarding of investors, and do a very efficient monitoring of all the transactions without violating any of the GDPR rights that are in force in the European Union.
Yep. Yeah, just a slight clarification. Oh my God! Now it's escaping my mind. I was thinking about. Anyway, let's continue. Okay. Oh yeah. Sorry. When you mentioned atomic swap, what we actually mean is that there is no time in which the asset has to be held and then wait for the tokens to arrive or anything like that. The payment is instant. As an example of the traditional system that we have today, for example, you may pay something with your banking card and the payment will be processed in a batch by a central bank or a clearing house, and it may be processed later in the day or the day after or even after the weekend, right? It's like for us to imagine with payment systems, payment options like Quantoz on chain, if you paid with a banking card, it would be like instantly having the funds arrive to the merchant or to whoever you're paying to, like if you're transferring from two bank accounts or from yourself in the same bank, completely instant, right? That's what atomic swap means.
Now, maybe let me put it in other words. I think that atomic swaps are a kind of holy grail of the blockchain because they reduce or minimize or exclude the counterparty risk. If you want to sell me a tokenized asset and I'm going to pay you with digitalized money, we always have the risk if one of us moves first. Yeah, will your counterparty deliver the asset or pay the money? And on blockchain, with the atomic swap, we do the two transactions in one transaction. It means either the two transactions go together or they both fail. You never have the risk that only one of the two transactions is executed and the other one not. And this is something that excludes the middlemen as we have them today. If we want to trade assets, we go to an exchange, like the London exchange or the Nasdaq exchange, and they act as the middleman. They receive my money and they receive your tokenized asset, and they will, your asset, and they will swap these two and deliver me the asset and you the money. And this costs money and takes time. And with the atomic swap, there is no longer a middleman needed because the transaction is executed by the blockchain itself.
Absolutely. We have about 5 minutes remaining. I would like to ask you a little bit about how you see the industry in the EU. We have MiCA. I have seen reports that MiCA might be getting a review. I don't know if you know anything about that. Maybe, I don't know if it's too early for that. But I would like to have kind of your view on how we could scale the stablecoin industry in the EU, which is basically, like you said, a holy grail, a connective tissue, so to speak, for the tokenized economy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's very important that there is a regulation because it creates a level playing field for everyone. And what we've learned from other regulations, that once a market is regulated, it becomes more attractive for investors. So that's very important. At the other side, the blockchain industry and the technology develops very rapidly, and it's something that might need additional regulation. And furthermore, we see that there are a few gaps in the existing regulation. For example, what we call the multi-issuance of tokens. So MiCA works very well for issuers like Quantoz that only issue their tokens in the EU. But there are other issuers that have a branch in Europe and branches outside of Europe. And through multi-issuance, they have a kind of advantage because they don't need to hold, for example, 30% of the fiat money that back the stablecoins that are in circulation at bank accounts. That is something that European issuers like Quantoz or others are faced. But multi-issuance issuers that have that also issue outside of the EU don't have these limitations, and this is something I think that needs to be repaired with a MiCA 2.0.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Do you think that's coming? Do you think? I mean, it seems logical that it should be arriving at some point. Do you have any indication that this might be the case?
Well, I think that it is important that it's cleared because MiCA is also there to protect consumers. And you protect consumers by forcing the issuers of the stablecoins, for example, to hold 30% of the money that backs the tokens that are in circulation on bank accounts in Europe. So this is a safety mechanism for European consumers and investors, and this is being circumvented through the multi-issuance model. So I think it's important that it's being cleared.
Understood. Yeah, understood. Thank you, Henry. We have run out of time. I would have loved to continue the conversation. There's a lot we left on the table. Maybe we can repeat sometime in the future when MiCA does get reviewed, as we have been discussing. Thank you so much for coming on. You're a trusted partner of Token City. We are also rooting for you as a company. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and good luck with your podcast.
Thank you.